minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hi, I'm Mark Wade, and you're listening to the Flash Podcast.
Well, hello, buddy, and welcome back to the Flash Podcast. Your podcast for all things related to series The Flash, starring Grant Gustin as Baron, aka The Flash. Not in the Flash movie though, but in season 9 of The Flash. I'm your host, Andy, as always, and joining me as always are Lacy and Breeze. Girl, how you doing tonight?
Good. Still
Oliver.
recovering from seeing Oliver again.
Yeah, there you go. We're in the final 5 now, y'all. It's like the beginning of the end. It is
final countdown.
Watch as that song will somehow be played in the finale. So Tati is off this week, and because that girl is always working hard. So we will hopefully have her back. I think she might be gone next week, but for the end, she will definitely be here. But we are joined by 2 very, very special guests at the same time for once, which is like, so now they both exist. Like it's kind of like are Tati and Lacy 2 separate people, or are they just one person? So at first we have Ms. Vanessa Shark from the Studios Podcast and Lituation Room. Vanessa, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me back. I'm excited to talk about this episode.
Yeah, I see you're Flash represented. I see clearly. Is he about on the timeout today?
Those shirts are dirty. I haven't done laundry.
Okay.
Saving it for the end of the season. Come on.
There you go. And then joining us, someone we haven't had in quite a while. But listen, when Wally is back and when Diggle is back, you gotta ring the bell. Also from the Lituation Room, Mr. Brother Nate. Brother Nate, welcome back to the Flash Podcast. How you doing today, brother?
What's going on, Andy B, Lacy, Breeze, Vanessa Shark, aka Mama Shark in these streets. And there's a reason, Andy, why we Vanessa and I have to limit the amount of interaction we have on these podcast streets, because when you get Cleveland and Atlanta together, a lot can go down. But it's good to be back. I think the last time I was here, it might have been the Diggle episode where he threw away the green ring. So this feels fitting.
Yeah, when Toddy just like casually made the dirtiest
the
throwaway
greatest
line
joke ever made on this podcast.
Yeah, we're like, because again, it's very rare to make Nate speechless. And the fact that he was like, I need a second Toddy, hold on, that was iconic. And hello to everyone who's watching live on Facebook and YouTube. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. We are now in the final 5 for the season. And in the show notes, you will find links to all the upcoming recordings for our live streams. And because I designed to be punctual for once, which is rare, but it's doable. We don't have any news other than that the Flash movie has been screened at CinemaCon. Of course, people had thoughts.
People are having some big feelings about this film.
Yeah, and a lot of questions about, is Grant in the movie or not? It seems like he is not. But at least you're getting 2 Batman. Because
Flash movie. That's what we wanted.
That's what the people asked for in the Flash. Is not the Flash.
Like, I don't mind Supergirl.
I mean, maybe not this Flash actually. So maybe it really needed just more Batman. I don't.
But yeah, it's funny. It's funny that again, I'm like I'm still curious about like how Wonderverse was just like, we're not gonna have any leaks. I'm like, y'all realize that people are gonna leak stuff. Like, I don't know why they showed it so early. So, but other than that, there are really no more news. I mean, the show is they wrapped filming. Of course, they're working on post production. So, we're gonna just jump right into this episode. So this is probably the more I keep reading this title, the dumber it feels like to me because I'm like, why? But it's episode 9 of season 9 called "It's My Party and I Will Die If I Want to," written by Sam Sheldon and Emily Polisi, and written by the one and only Miss Daniel Panabaker. And Breeze is going to kick us off with the A storyline for this week.
Well, spoiler alert, Barry does die in this episode, so that's why it's called that. But let's rewind some. So Barry is turning 30 again, which made me feel very attacked since I'm turning 30 in 2 weeks. And he's having a little party and things are going good. People are singing Spice Girls karaoke, which no one wanted to see, but we got it anyway. And Barry's having an existential crisis because he's like, I get all these extra years of life while literally everyone is dying around me all the time, including Caitlin, who we don't really care about, who Diggle seems to care more about that she's dead than anyone in the show.
He doesn't care that she's dead.
And then our bestie, and then they're toasting champagne, and they're like, "This tastes expired," and it's not expired. There's just like literal blood work drops in it, which is so nasty. And then our bestie Bloodwork, aka Mr. 104, I think that's the numbers. I never get them right. From Doom Patrol shows up. If you've read the spin-off comics, you saw that he had busted out of Argus, and he's like, Crisis didn't work, so I'm back to destroy the planet. I'm going to start with Barry and Wally, which we'll get more into Wally later. And yeah, Barry literally dies because Wally gets mind washed and kills him. And then Oliver's like, hey, I'm back because I'm the Spectre, and I'm only allowed to come back as Deus Ex Machina like this when the multiverse is at stake. And they team up and they take down Bloodwork. And yeah, I don't want to spoil too much of the Wally stuff since we have that as plot B of the
also,
episode.
surprise, the multiverse.
Oh yeah, well yes, we'll get more into the Wally stuff, but he's kind of connected to the multiverse, and we learn that Red Death was not from an alternate timeline, and they're all just kind of dumb to think that because actually the multiverse is back, which we knew from the end of Crisis, but apparently no one else has figured out. Though I guess Titans fans knew that since we've seen that recently. But yeah, so that's the storyline. I will start with our special guests, Vanessa and Nate, which would either one of you want to start and let us know what you thought about this very special birthday episode.
Well, I want to say last time I was here, I speculated on the timelines versus alternate realities, multiverse thing, and it turns out that my thinking was correct. Yeah, she's from another multiverse or from another universe. So I'm actually really excited to confirm that. It feels interesting, and I wonder if the shows communicate. I mean, they have to, because spoiler alert, Barry Allen appears in a Titans episode, last week's Titans episode, which is awesome. But I wonder if the shows coordinate so that they lined up their multiversal episodes to happen in the same kind of time, especially with the Flash screening, and that's very multiversal heavy. So it feels like DC's leaning all the way into multiverse, and they purposely lined it all up to especially with the comics, they're also dealing with the multiversity. Harley Quinn screws up. The DCU is out right now, so it's a lot of multiverse stuff that DC's pushing right now. So I'm thinking it's like a marketing strategy, which I find interesting. I like it. I don't know where it's going, but I like it. So
you're giving them way too much credit, Vanessa. I don't know if they're that smart.
I think James Gunn is in charge now, so maybe there is something going on. I don't know, but I just found it interesting. There was a lot of multiversal talk the last couple of weeks with DC. So other than that cool stuff, I don't know how no one noticed blood in champagne. First of all, that's gross. I don't understand. The crowd was awkward. It was just awkward. I was like, why isn't he more friends? I don't know. It was just weird. Everything about the party scene was awkward and weird. And like, I just don't think in my heart that Iris would throw that kind of sterile party. I don't know. It was just not, it wasn't cute. Anyway, Khione took 4 years to get a cake. That party that already started. So that was wild.
Listen, she's only 3 weeks old. She's
Just
only
go to
3
a
weeks
Whole
old.
Foods. Like, where are you, Khione?
Fair. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's all I think it's the first A-play. Yeah, that was my thoughts. It was interesting. It's fun seeing all the new, like, all their, like, Wally back and Diggle back. Can't say I was excited to see Oliver back. but he is back in the comics, and I was more excited to see that. Plug. All right, done.
Oh, the new Green Arrow run by Joshua Williamson?
Yep.
Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Brother Nate?
So Spice Girls karaoke aside, I thought, like, the conceit of the episode, like, it worked for me as a way to bring people back, because that's really all it was. It was the device that we need to get these people back. Much like Vanessa, I am intrigued with this idea of the multiverse, although it kind of rings a bit hollow, at least in the context of this show, because it's like, oh, we're reintroducing this concept, and you got 4 episodes, so we're not going to really touch on this ever again. But I think the thing for me that held this episode together more so than anything, except for, like, the Wally and Diggle of it all, less so the Oliver, but is Sindel. Like, I think Sindel Ramamurthy is, and I don't use this word about a lot of people, Vanessa, like, whenever I see him on the screen, he's just delightful.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what character he's playing. I don't care, Andy, if he's talking about his father's research. I don't care what this man is doing. He makes me smile. And so there are so many moments where I think blood work on the page, it could have come off as a little corny, a little hokey, but I think Sindel elevated it. And the moment where he kind of takes Barry into the TV show of Barry's life, I thought that was really cool, how they kind of did that. So yeah, blood work, throwing blood in people's champagne, that's not cool, especially post-COVID. But we'll let it slide, brother.
Yeah, what about you, Lacy?
The Oliver Defender has logged on. I was so happy to see Oliver again. Not just because I think, like, Stephen Amell is so great in this part, and just Oliver and Barry's relationship has been such, like, an important part of this show for me and for Barry's character. I think that, like, getting to see them together one more time was just, like, so good. I love what a dick Oliver is. And he's like, yeah, you're dead. Otherwise, I wouldn't let you hug me this long. Like, just so amazing. I wish that he had crafted his, like, afterlife headquarters to not be Lian Yu. Like, that would have been great, because I literally, like, never needed to see Lian Yu again.
But that wasn't his afterlife. That was purgatory.
Whatever. He could have made it a bar or something. Like, I feel like Lian Yu is purgatory for me. But I loved all the little, like, bits of closure that they managed to give Oliver here. Like, all of his scenes with Diggle were so great. That, like, first hug they had was just like, oh, my heart. I don't know, like, what I'm supposed to think of, like, the magic rules of our magically made up godlike powers mean he can't see Felicity ever again, but I guess they did get William back from wherever he was, so that's thumbs up.
They're talking about present time William.
Yeah, I don't think it's happened yet that he's been kidnapped.
Never mind, he's still trapped.
Forever in purgatory.
Not forever, but Mia's doing great, so it's fine. That's all that really matters. I don't know. I was very apprehensive when I saw how many sort of favorites they were trying to cram back into this episode. And while I absolutely would have taken, like, an episode where just Oliver was there and an episode where just Wally was there, instead of having to do both these things at once in one episode. But given the restrictions of that, I think it really worked thematically in trying to
sort of tease out whether what Barry is doing still matters and what he's still fighting for. Although honestly, a part of me, the cynical, mean part of me, is like, dude, seriously, how many times do we have to have this talk? But but it was nice. It was
like
emotional.
this one
I got
was new.
emotional. I was really happy with it. Also, the blood in the champagne is just freaking nasty, which means if nobody tasted it, they bought some cheap, like really cheap, really bad champagne.
I think Iris was the first to notice it. She's like, the cider is expired. So maybe Nora was sending her signals, I guess. Andy, what did you think about the episode or this storyline?
I'm gonna first start by being petty, which is that when I watched the original screener for it, which again, so many effects were so.
Oh my gosh,
unfinished.
I watched it again, and it looks. I can't even tell you like how bad, like, you know, when like monster blood work like rises up out of his body or whatever. It literally like.
Wait, let me tell what's worse though. So when Barry and Wally are having their race, I guess I can talk about it when we get to Wally. So it's a funny story because I think Lacy will know exactly what I'm talking about. But like when I watched the screener first time, and Diggle gets their point, you know, so you're going to see her this time. And Oliver's like, my powers come with rules. I was so petty because I'm like, I know some Felicity fans out there are going to be so pissed with this.
I'm like, you know what? Felicity deserves it, even if his dumb self doesn't. But that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, all I'm saying.
They get their happy ending eventually. They just have to like be dead.
Yeah, but
that's fine.
Yeah, that's you know, modern day Romeo and Juliet, I guess. How is that
technically Oliver's already dead?
Yeah, and that means that Felicity died. Like Felicity dies young. She only died in 2040. That means that Felicity doesn't even get to get retired. She dies like when she's in her 40s. So, but
she's also a billionaire's wife. She's essentially retired now. Although I guess she's just living off of. No, the Spectre doesn't pay, so Ollie doesn't have any money.
Yes, so as well established, the Spectre is cheap and does not pay his tab.
Right.
Well, what I will say is, again, I was petty and I was like, oh, I know some people are going to be pissed with this, and I don't care, because, you know, they always get petty at us LONSDALE'S fans when we're having a good time with something. So, but what I will say is, I love Senthil, and I think Bloodwork was definitely one of the better villains in Eric's run as a showrunner, because you know, and I'm sure Vanessa can speak more to this than I can, but like, you know, Bloodwork is not in that many comics. Like he's like a very small villain. So the fact they found a way to make him a compelling character on this show is, you know, and we actually got a proper wrap up this time. They tied it into the comic, and that was nice. And so I really, again, you know, like I could watch Senthil just act. I could just sit and watch reading the phone book. That's how good he is. So like I look forward to seeing him in Doom Patrol whenever that comes back. If it comes back, I'm kidding.
Better suck that negative energy back in your chest.
But I don't trust David Zaslav. Like he would be like,
we will bust in the Warner Brothers and find those screeners.
Set something on fire. I don't care.
Yeah. So hopefully, we will get them soon. But yeah, it was nice to get a proper. I laughed so hard at the flashbacks sequence.
That was savage.
I was watching because I've been told by a source that we're doing something really effed up that you're gonna crack up. You're never gonna guess it. I'm like, and I had like I sent them 20 different ideas. They're like, you're not even close. So suddenly when Bloodwork's like, the lighting here is so bad, and
that was beautiful.
I'm like, what is happening right now?
Sorry, I would also like to point out that flashbacks acknowledge Caitlyn, which the real show does not. So there you go.
And also treated Killer Frost's body as undignified as possible.
Yeah, like when she fell out of the casket, this is horrible, but I started cracking. Like I cackled.
I laughed.
But not because I hate Frost, because I love Frost. But
it looks so silly.
In my opinion, but that was so undignified. I was like, come on, man.
Yeah, so I'm just like, what are they trying to do here? And then like when Caitlyn shows up, like, it's okay that we die. It's more important for you to live. So I'm like, did Lacy like break into Eric's computer and like rewrite the scene? Because I'm like, this.
Who directed the episode? Like,
Daniel Panabaker.
yeah.
Mm.
So I have to assume.
Yeah.
I mean, she knows what's up.
Yeah.
No, Miss Panabaker, who shout out to you if you're watching, but she knows what's up because we, I interviewed her last week and we definitely, I had some questions about like, so KEIYNAN, like, what is this? And she said something. She was very polite, and you guys can read in the interview. But I was like, So when I watched that scene again, I was like, it is so funny she gets to say that it's important that you get to live, Barry, right? The birthday party, I'm like, Joe should have been there.
Yeah.
I did think it was funny that Singh and Kramer were having this discussion. I'm like, you're really gonna make Barry choose between both his bosses? He's like, that's why I'm like, just be diplomatic, Barry.
I love that Joe wasn't there, but like Diggle is there.
But we love Diggle.
We love Diggle, but I'm just like It
could have been worse.
People who should show up to your birthday party.
Right,
Like,
and this works for Argus too now. So like, why didn't Cisco? I mean, we know why actually, but it's like, okay, so we get Diggle, but not Cisco.
Right.
Yeah,
He must hate that Vancouver weather so much. He's
like, you cannot pay me to go back to Canada.
I mean, again, I get. I mean, I wouldn't want to film in Vancouver for like 10 years of my life. Like I could probably do one day in Vancouver. Like if Eric Coleman was like, "Hey, I need you really to cameo as someone," I'm like, "How long do I have to be there?" Barely a day. I'm like, "That's all you get. I'm not gonna stay there for like a whole month." Like I don't do well with snow.
The best season in Vancouver is the summer, but they don't film in the summer, so it's like
they used to like during the normal season, because I remember like the earliest like all the first 5 episodes it was always sunny, and suddenly when we get to the crossover it's like it's dark and rainy and leaves are floating around. Kramer singing karaoke was amazing until Cecile ruined it. I'm over Cecile. Like there's nothing nice. Cecile's been to more parties this season than she's been to work. I'm like, she's a
but not her own daughter's birthday party, as someone in the comments pointed out.
Maybe Cecile needs some motherly lessons from Vanessa, because Vanessa would never do that. Vanessa would be like, Cecile, what's wrong with you? Like you were crapping about like, oh, I don't want to go to my law practice. I want to stay in Central City, and then she never goes to work.
She is the definition of like deadbeat mom.
I didn't say it, but yeah, I love the blood work stuff. The multiverse stuff was kind of funny because I'm like, because I'd seen so many people like bitching and moaning about like, oh my god, why didn't you just make the Red Death thing a multiplayer thing? I'm like, maybe there's a reason they haven't said anything yet, because maybe we're leading up to it. But this, like, some people in this panel are just not patient. So, but I'm glad we got it like the week after the Flash cameo happened on Titans. Again,
honestly,
I don't want.
Like, I have to say, I kind of get it, if only because, and I know I'm almost positive we talked about this last time Vanessa was on. Like, the show never bothered to kind of delineate a substantial difference between the multiverse and air quotes alternate timelines, which were basically just like the multiverse in drag. So I mean, I get why it's kind of like, really
fair. I'm just glad they at least established the multiverse again on the Flash before the show ended, because our show was the one that introduced it into the Arrowverse, so but I guess maybe we should talk. I mean, when it comes to, is this the only part where we're talking about Oliver, or are we going to merge it with the Wall discussion?
I don't know. You always make me pick. You always make me pick 3 things, and so I picked 3 things. And you don't have to like follow that.
Miss Bauer.
There's certain rules to Andy's powers.
Now, hold on. I got no powers. Miss Bauer, there's a reason I put A, B, C, and D story. Don't come and blame me that like you don't give me enough space. I gave you 4 slots. So, but
well,
anyway.
No, I mean, I don't think we need 4 slots. That's more my point. Like, we're fully into the realm of like, I don't think there is an A and a B plot anymore. I think it's all kind of the same plot.
I don't think you're an A.
All the timelines are converging.
Except for Chalegra, which Eric insists making the E plot every episode.
I'm glad. I loved Oliver's return again. Steve, again, there's something with the Flash that they just know how to write for Steven way better than they did on Arrow most of the seasons. Again, I love Arrow. despite its many faults. But like whenever Steven is on the Flash, so it's just perfection. Like even though I was dragging Olicity, they knew how to write Felicity really well on the show whenever she stopped by. So like that's the thing. Like they write Arrow characters much better on this show. So and it was great to see Grant and Steven again. I love that it was just in that like you're not gonna boop me again, right? Because last time you kind of killed the speaker. It's like I'm not gonna boop you, and then it's just a sucker punch. Fun fact for anyone who's a Snyderverse fan in the comments. So in the screener version, and I cackled. Because music is never finished when we watch screen. Nothing is ever finished when we watch screeners. It's rare. Like the ADR, the ADR, y'all would be so distracted by that. But when Barry and Oliver is about to get, return to the real world, they start playing the Into the Speed Force theme from the Snyder Cut, and I was like, are we really not done with the score at this point? Like you guys have had months. So I love that Oliver was back, and I love that he was there to serve as Barry's story. I will agree that the whole part of me doesn't want to go back. Kind of felt like it came out of left field, but then I thought about it. I myself on birthdays will sometimes reflect on like what has been going on the last few years, or what's been how I changed, what has happened to me, and so I can kind of understand it because I'm like, is Barry on a death wish again? Like I don't have time for this, Eric. We don't have time for this, not this season. So, but I love seeing them together again. I hope Steven and Grant work together on something in the future. I don't know, like maybe Grant can go over to what's that wrestling show that Steven does?
Heels.
Like, Heels, yeah. Maybe he can go over to. I don't.
No, can y'all imagine Grant Gustin as a wrestler? Though I'm sorry.
That could actually be kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. It could.
Babyface Grant Gustin.
I loved all the callbacks we got, to the Flash pilot when Oliver showed up with the quote. I love that. We got one last "You failed the city." We got an amazing fight sequence with all like it's like Steven never left. Steven just like I took a nap.
I do love that Oliver was all like, "You have failed this city that I don't even live in, but I know."
They were playing all the greatest hits last night.
They really were. So that was fun. I'm glad that Oliver was just like, yeah, I'm gonna remove your sickness, Ramsey, and I'm gonna remove your powers. Like, I'm like, okay, we just do that. Like, imagine if you could just, take care of other things in the universe. But he was like, nope, you're not sick anymore, but you are just a common criminal now. The Diggle hug, oh my god, that was. It's like I can explain. He's like, I don't even care. Like,
illegal shippers won this episode. That was so romantic. Are you kidding me? He's like, I can't see my wife, bestie, and it's like a long.
You've just been waiting for Oliver.
I've been watching you, John.
Right? Like, oh my god! And then the Oliveri shippers were eating too at the end when they had the little date. Yeah, they were.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, who? Felicity? Who? Barry and John are the love of his life.
I gotta ask though, because last time you were here, we were talking about a certain box.
Let's talk about it because I'm a little heated, Andy B.
Yeah, I knew as soon as Oliver said it, I'm like, oh no, Nate is actually going to be angry about something with this episode. Yeah. So, talk. What you think?
Andy, not to bring the mood of the show down, but I just want to say something to, Eric Wallace, the Flash writers, CW, Zaslav. Y'all got one more goddamn time to allude to Green Lantern around this man, John Diggle. When Oliver had the audacity to say,
the caucasity,
your brightest days are ahead of you with your family. I was like, sir,
brightest day,
sir, if you don't go sit somewhere, Oliver Queen. They had the audacity to show the scene where, again, alluding to Toddy's famous line from that episode, Andy, where he throws away the box. And so I had made peace with that, Andy. I'm like, you know what? He's never going to be a Green Lantern in this universe. That's fine, But you didn't have to twist a knife and just like, hey, your brightest days are with your family, buddy. Because there was a part of me, Vanessa, this is how they get you. Because there was a part of me that was like, you know what? If he gives this man a ring, I'm gonna be so disappointed. Because here's the thing, again, Vanessa, we're never seeing Diggle again except on Superman and Lois maybe, and
No,
that's a different Diggle from a different Earth.
He's not even showing up this season.
Okay, so we're never seeing Diggle again. So I was like, you know what? If they give him a ring as a parting gift, I might be like, fine. But then, just to twist that knife, Vanessa Shark, I was feeling some type of way. But then this is how good David Ramsey and Stephen Amell are together. Because I was in the midst of my anger. But then when Oliver's like, "I love you, John," and he hugged him, I'm like, you know what? I guess all this family malarkey is all right. If I can use language like malarkey on this program, Andy B.
I don't even know. I don't even know what I don't even know what that word means. I was about to be like, wait. Is this a word that I'm not supposed to be saying?
Malarkey is like an old timey word for BS, basically.
Okay.
But I like seeing those two together. I think, alluding to Vanessa's point, was part of the heart of the show. The reconnections, like Barry and Wally, Barry and Ollie and John. I think that was the heart of this episode for me. And so even though I feel some type of way that, again, Oliver fixed his mouth to say the words in your brightest days ahead of you, because like, we don't need this, sir. Not on the way out. Show some class, Oliver Queen. Don't do us like that. But I did love Diggle and Ollie's interactions.
Yeah, I feel like that was the case of the writers not reading the room and realizing how over we are this green box storyline. Like, we just want to forget it even happened.
I will. The next time I talk to Eric, I'll be like, Eric, why are you attacking us? No, at this point, I'm just assuming that DC just probably we're just like, no, we don't want you all to play with Green Lantern. You all can't even do some of these things anymore.
The VFX would be so bad. I'm sorry. No disrespect.
I mean, no offense to him. He's not the one making the effect. It's more like the company, the VFX company they have. But the thing is, yeah, I get it. It's a tease. But at the same time, if they're wrapping up the Arrowverse, what's the point of giving a ring anyway? Because then Nate would have been sitting here for 20 minutes being like, why didn't we get to see him in a suit? Why didn't we get to see him fly into space?
But no, because at least then, Andy, I would be like, well, you know what? John lives on in the adventures somewhere. We're never going to see him again because we're never going to see Diggle again. But at least he's happy with his ring somewhere instead of with his family. Because, again, that was the other part, Vanessa, saying he's had brighter days with his family. We ain't seen these kids in 3 seasons, man. We ain't seen Lyra in, 2 seasons? Like, come on, man.
Lila.
Wow. I'm sure John can't remember her name either.
John Diggle exists and lives on in the comic
right now.
But everyone talking at the same time, so Vanessa, you start.
Sorry, John Diggle lives on in the comics. He is canon. He's a comics canon character now.
Okay.
He's part of the Arrow family in the comics universe. So,
I was just asking, I don't even remember how many kids Diggle is supposed to have now.
2,
is
right?
it 2?
Yeah, I think he's got the son and daughter.
Sarah and JJ?
No, free. JJ,
No, I thought they erased Sarah.
Sarah is.
No, they brought her back.
They brought her back in Crisis, I think.
Yeah, Ali Spectre brought her back.
Lacy, imagine having the Crisis screeners and not remembering what happened.
Okay, a lot happened in Crisis.
Yeah, a lot happened.
Never the 2 boys because then they were bad in the future when we went to the future with Mia, and I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that. Like all of Diggle's kids are messed up.
Tell me,
because their dad wasn't around chasing this green box.
Tell me that Green Arrow and the Canaries pilot was written by not black people without telling me that Green Arrow and Canaries pilot was not written by black people.
I forgot about that. That was so long ago.
Yeah, I remember when we watched the back.
I did watch that with you, Andy. We reviewed that. It was wonderful.
The reason why I'm shaking my head is that this mother effer couldn't get his Netflix to work and basically improvised the entire screening experience. Like, he wasn't even watching the episode. He was just going off of what I was saying. He's like,
wow,
I really
respect.
agree.
That's a talent.
And then 4 months later, on a call with him, he's like, Eddie, I got to tell you something. I'm like, oh no, what happened? He's like, you're gonna be disappointed with me. I'm like, why? I lied about watching the episode with you. I'm like, wait, so what were you doing the whole time? He's like, I was just going off of what you were saying. I'm like, wow.
It's called improv. And
yes.
Right.
Yeah. It's a yes and your scene partner.
Yeah.
Yes. And they're just going off on this scene. I remember thinking about how Mia felt in that scene, Andy, and I don't know how I would react in that situation. What do you think, buddy? And it went on like that for like an hour.
A full hour. Like, That's my villain origin story.
Good times, Andy.
Good times.
Good memories.
I do love Diggle's new look, by the way. Like it suits him. Like with the grown hair and the beard and so on. But again, the more I keep seeing his costume, oh wait, I can actually we have an image because they tell me they weren't thinking of doing this as his Green Lantern suit. Like, there's no way in hell. Where are my images? There we go. Look at this suit. This is such a Green Lantern prototype suit. Like, I can tell that logo was supposed to emerge on his chest, and he was gonna be like, "No more helmet, no more Magneto." So I just
let me tell you how they almost got me again, Vanessa. Remember? So when they, I mean, of course you remember. You watched the episode, unlike me with that episode of Green Arrow and the Canaries with Andy B. When the wave dissipates after Oliver shoots the arrow into the breach, and that green wave hits everybody, I'm like, I don't know what y'all doing with this color choice right now. And the way it hit John and everybody else kind of reacted one way, and Diggle was just kind of like, oh, I was like, what are you doing, David Ramsey? Stop playing with me, WB.
I don't understand why. Our emotions are so toyed with. It's like, for example, we could never have Ted Cord on the show in the Arrowverse, and then Mother Effer is not even in Blue Beetle. So it's like, I'm like, why are we even like? I'm like, Eric, I have so many questions for you when we talk. Like, there's like, you're like, 10 years. 10 years. Is there anything else everyone want to talk about when it comes to Oliver, Bloodwork, or Diggle before we get to the Wally of it all?
I did like that we got one last like Diggle vomit scene for the road.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wait till we get to Khione Corner. And it's gonna be a hell of a good time. But all right, well, let's go to the Wally storyline that Lacy called "We Missed You, Wally." But Wally comes back in this episode to join on the celebration. You know, again, why this couldn't have been like the baby shower, it's beyond me. But Wally comes back and he's talking about that he's been sensing other timelines. Like he's getting further into his connectivity with the Speed Force, and but because he has still some issues trauma that he hasn't dealt with yet, Bloodwork gets to him, and he becomes a Kid Blood, or whatever they want to call him.
Blood Kid. That just sounds so gross.
I know. I mean, again, it was just the black eyes, the black teeth. Like anytime they do it with Bloodwork, it's just so disgusting. But Wally has to fight his inner demons, unresolved issues with his mother, and I never need to see this show ever again. Because I hate what he did with Francine West, because a bunch of white people were writing the show back in the day, so they. A little racist, but we also see Wally having some beef with Barry. I don't know why I laughed so hard when he said "Shut up, Barry," and when he also that microphone was way too close, because when he starts hitting his head, I'm like, whoa. Wally has like a thick skull if he can sound that loud, so and then they have the little war, but through the power of Speedster. Love, Barry managed to get Wall to snap out of it, and we get to see our dynamic duo one last time, saving the day. Brother Nate, how did you feel about Wally's return this episode?
I love KEIYNAN, man. This I feel like this guy, and we've talked about it off mic, Andy. Like, I feel like he has maybe been the least served amongst kind of our principal Flash characters over the years. Like, I feel like they did the character of Wally and then the actor, the person of KEIYNAN Lonsdale, dirty in a lot of ways. So it's been good, the few times we've seen him come back the last couple of years. And this was good, but I wish, to Lacy's point earlier, maybe if we could have separated this from this story, because I liked what we got with Wally here, but I also feel like Wally was a zombie half the episode, and I would have liked more just family stuff with him and Barry, and then him and Iris, because the one scene we got, like, I liked it, but it was like that's all we gonna get is this right here. But Keenan's great, man. And I think for me, that scene that you talked about where he was like, "Shut up, Barry," and he kills Barry. Like I felt like the character of Wally West. And again, before that, when we had the scene where Bloodwork turns him, I felt like Keenan was doing some really good work there, and it made sense in the context of Bloodwork playing on this stuff that Wally's been trying to work through and this trauma and everybody that he's lost, and how, again, like you're always in the shadow of Barry. He's the golden child, and the petty part of me did enjoy, like, during that tense scene with Wally and Barry at Star Labs, where Ramsey is just kind of in the background egging him on. Yo, this man took your daddy and he's sleeping with your sister.
No, he was like pawning off your sister. I'm like,
yes, just being so petty. But yeah, I love Keenan and Grant working together. I just wish we could have gotten more of them when Wally was not, being taken over by this entity.
Vanessa, how did you feel about Wally's return in this episode?
I love seeing Wally. His appearances always remind me of like some of my favorite times in the Flash history. I think Keenan's just a good actor, and he just imbues this version of Wally with like a very fun sense of like energy, like hippie vibe. It's fun because a lot of versions of Wally are frankly annoying, and I like his version of Wally. I will say that they did way too much in this episode. The Oliver John stuff should have been its own thing in one episode, and the Wally trauma stuff should have been its own thing in another episode. Obviously, we suffered from the shortened season this season because what we did get with the Wally stuff, like actually diving into his trauma of, being raised by a mother who's a drug addict, which is always been one of my least favorite storylines. And the fact that he didn't get to grow up in a warm household like Iris and Barry did. I love that they touched on him losing Jesse, that he's still not over that. Because I'm like, finally, someone's bringing up Earth 2. Because by proxy, I miss Harry. Harry's my favorite Wells, and It sucks that he's just gone. And so I'm glad that we get to acknowledge that Wally is still grieving over the family that he lost, his other little family. But I thought it was just too short. Like Nate said, he spent a lot of time as a zombie, just making grunts. Also, with better writers, you can say this about the entire show, half the time. But I would love to explore the optics and the implications of Wally looking at this white kid that essentially took his spot. Like, how would that, in a good writer's room, this would have been something that we could have really unpacked if we had actually like considered the fact that Barry was raised by a Black family. Like, this is a storyline we could have really, like, you guys replaced me with a white kid, or we didn't know you existed. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we could have played with here, but obviously, and you'd think with a Black male showrunner, we could have. But anyway, I think there were some missed opportunities here, especially with the Iris. Like, Wally is Iris's brother, and like we got one scene with him. That's insane to me, and I don't think that's right. But when we rarely ever get Iris done right in these last few seasons anyway, so not that surprised. But the stuff that we did get, whatever, it was good enough, and I was like, this is nice. It's nice to see him. But I really wish we could have gotten a whole episode to focus on it with Joe involved. And like really talking about Francine, and like I would like them to talk about the good times of Francine. Francine wasn't a drug addict her whole life. Like, I would love for Joe to be like, I fell in love with this bright, smart, beautiful woman, and a disease got to her, and it threatened everything, and I had to choose the kids. So, like something more. Because I feel like Francine has been done kind of dirty by the show. But anyway, those are my thoughts.
Yes. Echo, before you pick up, Andy, I just want to ratify that. I don't even know if that's the right word, but I'm feeling the emotions you're feeling, Vanessa, about this, because we've talked about it before, back on the Black Lightning podcast. Like, a central part of Barry Allen is this family that
Yeah.
he was raised in. You know, once Henry went to prison and his mom's dead, and we, you know, are with Barry with the West. And so to Wally's story, to not have this be a part, you know, if not in this episode or in this season, like it should have been something that we've been dealing with, or Wally's been, you know, wrestling with this whole time. And again, I feel like that's why this character and this actor in particular, who is so good, has just never really been done right by the show. You know, because like when he was first on, it just felt like, yeah, he's Kid Flash, he's the sidekick. We don't really need to get into his backstory. And then when it was time for him to get into his backstory, he's gone. And there's a lot of stuff on the table we could have dealt with.
Yeah, like I feel like this would have. I think I agree with Vanessa. I think this arc should have been essentially what we got in season 4. But by season 4, they were overcrowding that show so much that, and again, we had, you know, I'm sure if I don't know what this administration of the Flash has tried to do. Like again, I know the only time I know they were trying to get him back was for the 150th in season 7, and they couldn't because that was when COVID was at its worst, and I think he was in Australia, so traveling was not. I think he was having the same problem Tegan Croft was having with Titan season 3. That's why she was gone for so many episodes. But I guess for myself, like I wish that this, you know, Wally could have been in one of the interludes instead of the nonsense that was Cecile and Allegra in 906, because like 906 is all I will say. But you know, but again, I get it. I'm sure if there were availability issues, so be it. You know, like sometimes, you know, like it's out of the show's control. You know, if an actor isn't, because he's been doing a lot of music stuff and he's been on other shows, and you know, I'm glad he's thriving. I mean, if James Gunn is smart for his new Flash in the DCU, I would say just cast KEIYNAN as Wally. Make, you know, you can be Wally of that world. You know, maybe Barry needs to take a little rest. Because I think the only way I will accept Wally in new movies is if we get because my Wally West is the Black Wally. I don't call him Wallace. I call him Wally West. He's my Wally West, not this chaotic red ginger that came back through Rebirth and just, you know.
Wally's real name is Wallace. They're technically, I know, Wallace West.
Right, but it's like again, I just like Wally, for me, like I know, like this Wally, the Black Wally that we have, the one we got in New 52, like, that's my Wally West, you know, like that's like, I don't like, for me, there is not a Wally West. So, you know, Tony, if you're watching, haha, but you know, but I love that there was, again, KEIYNAN acted his ass off in this episode, and again, seeing him and Grant together was phenomenal. I think this was the first time Barry actually said that to Wally that he loves him. I think that's the first time. I mean, we know he loves him, but we never heard it on screen, and I just, but it was just great seeing them team up again and have this. You know, again, I love the lightning rope, whatever, and so on. Again, it's like I just love they can do anything with the Speed Force now. But something I want to touch upon what Vanessa was saying, by the way, because you know it's because in the final of Black Lightning, I remember Celine was talking in interviews about like ideas he had for Flash and Black Lightning crossovers. I'm like, can we just get him to write an episode this season, maybe? Like, you know, oh my god, Gambi and Cisco together would be so funny. Like that's a show in itself. But I love that we got, even if it left you wanting more, absolutely. But I'm glad we got anything at all. You know, especially, you know, because these last few interludes, I know they've been very rough. So the fact that we got a really solid episode, because again, I feel like Oliver is just there as a plot device, but Wally actually gets some growth in his arc. Like again, I know that even though there is more of Oliver is just there to service Barry's story. He's just there to bring him back from the dead, fight Ramsey Russo, and you know, not pay the bill at the end. He's like. I can't take it with me. But
that was a clever line.
But Wally, like, he grew. I love that he grew, and that fact that, yes, even though we do only get like 1.5 scene with Iris and Wally, I love the fact that they got it at all. And he's like, yeah, I've been reading your long ass emails, because I can totally see Wally be the kind of like, sending the one who's like sending different PDFs of like, no wait, read this one instead. No, read this one instead. And Ira just goes, okay. But it was sweet and
they're so good together.
They are so good together. Also love the I love the like the blonde streaks in Candace's hair, you know. Like imagine like she's been a redhead and a blonde on the fight. Who would have known? To all those racist people who are like, a black woman can't be Iris West, and then voila. Lacy. I know the names of my co-host.
It's fine. If you're gonna call me by a wrong name, I'm fine with
Do
that
you?
one. I would just echo a lot of what everyone has already said. I do feel I was really glad to see Wally again because I couldn't even remember the last time we saw Wally on the show. But it has
Season
been
6.
It has been some time, and I missed him and I missed his dynamics with everybody. Notably, another person that does not care if Caitlin Snow is dead, but no one else does. So why should Wally? But I do feel like his return did get a little bit overshadowed by Oliver, and I don't think that's super fair to this character. That's such a big part of this show, of this on-screen family, of this sort of comics lore. I think he probably deserved better than this. I think what we got with him was really good, but to Brother Nate's point, like it really was basically like 2 scenes of real Wally and then some other stuff. I was really fascinated by like the sort of like how easily Bloodwork accessed that sort of, I don't even know what the word for it is. Like, I mean, it comes from trauma, I think, but it's like the resentfulness that I think he does still carry on some level, which I think is totally normal, but the show likes to pretend doesn't exist. And I wish we had gotten to unpack that a little bit more because like Wally literally killed Barry. So like maybe we should talk about why, but no, because it's the Flash. So we're not going to do that. But I was really glad to see him again. And I think we should have gotten more of him because that is probably the last time we're going to see his Wally again. I mean, maybe he'll pop up again in the finale, but I doubt it. And
I can say already, as far as I've been told, he is definitely in the finale.
Yeah, so like this is like it's a good way to go out, but I wish he had gotten more.
I have a question for Breeze because she's coming up soon. Do we think that Bloodwork is connected to the Red, and he perverts it?
That's a really interesting question because like he's kind of like evil though, right? So like would he, because there's the Black too, right, which is like Anton, what's his face from Swamp Thing, I don't remember their names, so I feel like he's kind of like an avatar of that almost.
That's a good point. Yeah Anyway,
but now he's nothing because Oliver said, haha, I'm gonna take your powers and put you in jail. But yeah, I agree with everyone's points about the show. I think this was their attempt to make it worth Keenan's time to come back, to give him more of a storyline than just like, oh, you're the connection to the multiverse. But it just felt a little too late. Also, it didn't really jive with me because they like build every time we've seen Wally, it's like he's so zen and like living in a monastery and like all this stuff. And it's like, actually, no, he's still like this hurt guy who like hasn't dealt with his trauma. So I feel like it just didn't really line up. Like to others' points, this should have been a storyline many seasons ago. But I am really glad we got him. We got time with Iris. In my like wish list, I would have loved to see like him, Nora, and Bart like hanging out, like the adult versions of them. That would have been amazing. I don't know why they couldn't come back for the birthday party. I guess that would be a little weird. But
Diggle's here. It's
yeah, literally
fine.
everyone's there.
Oh my god, Miss Lacy, you don't like? Why are you hating?
No,
on
I
Diggle
love
tonight?
Diggle, but it's just like think of all the other people that you would have assumed would show up to Barry Allen's birthday party before Diggle.
Also, like, who invites their boss to their birthday party?
That's the one for me. Like, well, why is the captain here?
I'd rather have the captains there than Cecile.
I mean, this adds credence to our theory that Joe and Kramer are having an affair.
At this point, it's a
damn.
It's a better ship than Joseel. Andrew, if you're listening, I'm sorry. But
Who are Barry's friends though? Like for real, like outside of the team, who are Barry's friends?
Yeah, he doesn't have any. Like we always talked about, like, oh, they don't give like
Tara.
Iris any friends.
No, all of his any friends he has, he just makes part of Team Flash, and then they are
Yeah,
his
he
friends.
just
Or their
gives them
shows are
jobs at
canceled.
Star
by the
Labs.
way,
It's
by the
nepotism.
way, you know what I never need to see again? I never need to see Cecile crawling like a blood zombie. That was so disturbing that I'm like, why does the show hate me sometimes? I don't understand.
I will
It's
say the
not-
horror-y bits of it were really affecting. Like that was really well done.
That's because Eric loves horror.
I know.
No,
Like, that's
I
like-
thought
like,
Allegra was gonna
creepy.
kiss Chester, and like the goo was gonna like go
Yeah,
to her
that
mouth,
was
like
really
on The Last of Us.
Mm.
I
That
love
was
that.
a really cool visual. Gross,
It was,
but
it was
really
funny that the reason, like, you know, when like he's like, Chester, you didn't drink the champagne. He's like, I'm not much of a drinker. So I'm like, that is very Chester like, so that makes sense. And she broke the gift he gave to her. And like for me, this is gonna sound so mean, but I for some reason laughed because I'm like, I think one month anniversary gifts are stupid.
I also just thought it was ugly. I'm gonna just put the pettiness out there. I thought it was
Wow.
not cute.
it wasn't like there are other ways to like do like a face treads and more fire thing. Like
Also, just give her
yeah,
a mask.
necklace is gross.
Yes.
Like
Right? Like half the heroes of
Mhm.
this universe have basically tied some pantyhose around their eyes and called it a day.
exactly.
Yeah.
Isn't that difficult?
wow.
Like, the Robins and Nightwings were like the tiniest domino mask.
Mhm.
Remember like Sarah's first like black for her first like when she
Like
was a canary
85% of your
mask, it was,
face is
like,
still
really
visible.
terrible.
I try to suppress any memories of Sarah as Canary. So
I know, but like yeah, it was not great.
Anything else we want to talk about Wally before we go to Lacy's favorite corner?
Khione Corner.
Mm.
Khione Corner is
Oh,
tired,
one thing,
guys.
and I know the reason why, like logistically why, but it would have been nice if we didn't have like the storyline growth, you know, the time investment in the episode to lead us up to this stuff where Wally kills his brother. Like, I wish the costume.
No. Don't say brother, because then the anti-West Island fans will come and be like, oh my god, Barry and Iris are an incest couple. Like don't even start.
We're
with
not
that.
entertaining them tonight.
He's
Or
not
any
brother
night.
in the colloquial way.
Yes, like
Yeah,
John
they're
and Ollie, they're
brothers.
brothers.
They're not related.
But like it would have been nice to do a costume update for
Yeah,
Wally.
agreed. I was thinking that too when I saw him in the lineup, and I was like, his suit kind of looks dusty. And I just wish there was like,
Like everybody else got their little fits on. It's like Wally,
Right.
we still rocking this from like 6 years ago.
like, you can still see they didn't even bother to wipe the film off. Like it's still dusty in the closet. No.
By the way, how cool was this? Because this wasn't in our initial screener Lacy and I had.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, by the way, the funny story that from the screener. So when Barry and Wally are fighting each other initially, this is how funny unfinished in VFX was. They didn't even give Wally his own CGI figure. They just they duplicated Barry and just turned the upper chest level and his cowl yellow. So I'm like, I
Wow.
get this is supposed to be Barry versus Wally. I'm like, this is why it's like, again, like whenever we get screeners, I text Lacy. I'm like, what was this shot? And she like, I don't know.
Basically, the VFX people are wizards. Because like what they start with, like the difference between the first cut of this that I saw and the final episode is it's a whole lot. So they're magical.
But Lacy, take us home with your favorite corner, and I will
time
torture you
for
with a
Khione
picture.
Corner. Khione Corner is tired, you guys. Khione Corner is just so over it. I wasn't expecting a lot of like movement on the Khione front since Danielle was directing this episode, and I just assumed she wouldn't be in it that much, and she's not in it that much, except that she somehow shows up to save the day because Oliver like mind speaks to her or something. I don't know, and this is because she is connected to the natural world, whatever that means. And that then allows her to both freeze all the water in the bodies of the zombie infected people somehow without, exploding their bodies or killing them. Science is cool. And also, I don't know, like vacuuming the blood work poison out of Diggle. I realize that no one on the show has put like a lot of thought into Khione or what she can do, but like this just feels like they just pulled some words out of a bag and stuck them together, and it was like snow suck powers. I don't know. It's really just like horrible. And I can't. So when Oliver's telling her, like, you know, you're connected to the natural world, and that's why you could do this. Like, then she gets literally the worst line of all time, where she's like, "Oh, that's chill. Guess I should go like meditate on it." And I was like, why does the show hate me? Why does it want to deny me joy? I just cannot believe that we are in, what is this, technically episode 9? Like, we have had 7 episodes since Khione was introduced. We have like no further understanding of who she is or what she does. Everyone just doesn't care that Caitlyn is dead. Like, help me. I can't with this. Like, and I understand that, you know, various changes to the schedule and the series getting, you know, a shortened season and not getting a season 10 are all like things that happen. But I just don't know why the move was to be like, well, we're not going to change anything we were doing in response to that at all. We're just going to let this sit here and suck. Khione Corner. Vanessa, welcome to the corner with a K.
I have been racking my brain trying to figure out A, why, and B,
also why,
what, and C, when. You know, I don't know what's going on. And I hate that feeling, because I can usually I'm like, this is either made up by the show or maybe they're referencing something to the comics.
I know normally they're not that subtle.
I don't know what's going on. Khione in like our reality is a Greek like nymph of snow. So it's like, maybe that's a clue, but she's connected to like all elements, like can tell when people are pregnant. It says it without their consent. She can like freeze water. She can
mind talk to gods. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if like they're trying to like hint that she's like she's an element. She controls the element. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they killed Caitlyn off for this. I
know. Like, you know what? That's my other thing is like I would still be pissed that they had killed Caitlyn and that nobody seems to care that they killed Caitlyn if it was for like a really great story.
Yeah.
But they killed Caitlyn and we got this instead. And I just, what is it? What's happening?
I just wanted to add, like, because Barry even mentioned that something doesn't feel right about, like, something doesn't feel right. Like, it seemed like he was trying to allude that he doesn't think that Caitlyn is dead.
I got that impression too, but then I was like, wow, it's a little late for you to start giving a crap, Barry.
You went to a dance club after finding out that she's gone. Like, oh good lord, that was still like. Go on, Vanessa. Sorry.
No, I don't. I don't know. I don't know. Like, it would be cool if she was. When they first revealed Khione's name or whatever, right before I was like, what if they're like, she's Louise Lincoln? That'd be cool. Because like Louise Lincoln is another version of Killer Frost in the comics. And then there's Crystal Frost. It'd be cool if they were just like, here's all these different, like just, that would have been cool. They didn't do that. I don't know what they're doing. And I kind of feel bad for like Caitlyn Snow's fans specifically, and I don't know if I've ever thought I would say that, but like this sucks. Like this sucks. I don't know what's going on, and I wish I knew, and I wish I had some idea. It's driving me kind of nuts.
Brother Nate, your thoughts? Welcome to Khione Corner.
Yes, I haven't talked about this whole season.
Yes, it's good to be on the corner. I'm waiting on this damn cake. When is it gonna
get
here?
Can't drive. I mean, to be fair, she probably can't drive. She hasn't learned how to drive yet. She probably walked there.
So I'll echo a lot of Vanessa's thoughts and like who, what, where, why, when, how, why the hell are we doing this? I think the thing that comes to mind most about Khione is it's not a bad concept. I think the timing is completely off, though. It's not something you bring up in the last season when you have a shortened amount of episodes, especially if we're going to undo it, because then it's like, well, why the hell did we do it in the first place to undo it 7 episodes later? Like, I think there is a world where you can tell the story of this person who has gone through 2 previous incarnations in Frost and in Caitlyn, and now this is this new being who is Captain Planet somehow, and she's connected to all the elements, and she's also like learning.
that for her.
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
yes, she's Captain Planet on these streets. But I think like I like the character. I just don't like her in this season, if that makes sense. Like, I think there's a world where this Khione character can work, but it would have worked like 2 seasons ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Especially if we're going back to
HR.
Oh my god.
I feel like her just discovering stuff that could be a good journey if you invest the time in that, Vanessa. But we don't have time to invest in this journey, and so I feel like if we're not going to have the time to invest properly in this character, and she just ends up being like this Deus Ex Machina on all of these episodes, why are you here? Why are you here? Why are we on this corner, Khione? And why do I not have a cake in my hand?
Khione's cake.
You notice she left the cake there too. She didn't even bring it.
I know. She's
Yes,
like,
and for the audience though, the cake will be spelled with a C because we can't have more than 2 Ks. Just
Fair.
I don't want to put that on Khione.
I know she doesn't know what that is yet. She's not on Twitter.
I'll put that on her.
Oh, Lacy.
Maybe somehow, because they're bringing the multiverse up again, maybe in this somehow they brought another multiversal version of her to inhabit her body. I don't know. I'm trying to make this cool.
Just trying to figure it
You're
out.
putting in more effort than the writers are.
Wait, what if she's
that.
from the multiverse and Caitlyn's not dead? They just switch places. That's how we solve it.
Wait, I like that idea. That's probably not going to happen.
No, it would make way too much sense.
That's actually a really good idea. That's not going to happen.
Here's
She's like chilling on Earth 75 or something, like
Living in the forest.
When I asked when I was talking to Danielle about it last week, because I was asking like, come on, Caitlyn can't be gone, and her answer was extremely ambiguous. So
yeah.
I'm like,
There's a lot of like, the season ends on a hopeful note, which read that how you need to read that.
Here's what was so funny because I even asked her like, so in episode 2, between the time when they said that Caitlyn is dead and then they go all dancing, was there a deleted scene where she was supposed to there was supposed to be any grieving and so on, and she said something in the form of whoa, hi Nate. Am I the one who's seeing this?
He's serving 1980.
Yes, I switched bodies with Multiverse Nate. Who are you? What is this microphone? How do I know this is a microphone?
I was going to say, how do you know that? Is that what it looks like in your
Let
world?
our powers combine.
Well, I basically when I asked, she made it sound like that this plan, whatever story they had in mind, it sounded like this was supposed to be what they were going to do for season 9 and 10, and then CW was like, no, last season. So I do think, yeah, sadly, the writers did write themselves into a corner on this.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at Liv's comment in the chat because that is exactly how it feels.
Yeah.
They should have made Caitlyn. They should have made her evil. She should have been one of the villains. Like, she should have been one of the villains for the interlude. She could have been the interlude villain, and then they could have tied it all the way back to season 1.
I know. Instead, they're just like, you know what you really want is some random ass third character that you don't know and didn't ask for.
Here's one of the politest.
Here.
Here's one of the most politest quote that Danielle said. One of the things that can be challenging as an actor on the show is that we don't write it.
Yeah.
She would listen to that. She's a good sport, and and here's the thing. I'm sure there's things that she can't say because there's still 4 more episodes, but. I don't have anything to say about it. I was like, again, anytime she's talking, but like again, her zen mode. This is all I hear now.
The bingle bongle dingle dangle, yickety doo, yickety da, ping pong, lippy tappy toota.
I mean, don't you think she would have jived with Wally? They could have like meditated together or something.
I thought that was gonna happen, like something like that.
That would have been fun.
That would have been fun. Yes, John, we were going to get to the feedback very, very soon. Who else wants to speak about Khione Corner?
My only thing is, I think it's so funny that Oliver / Spectre clearly knows what she is, but no one bothered to ask him.
Right.
He's just like, you can connect with the natural world, and no one's like, expound on that. Yes. Nothing. Like, you have this all-knowing man and ask him no questions.
Hey, Iris is a whole journalist, so I don't think she was around, but someone should have.
She was around. She was like, I can't believe you're here, Oliver. And then he says, like, you can connect with on that. You know what? You know what I will blame on? I will blame that Cecile was mind trapping everyone so no one could ask. She was like, I don't want people to feel or ask anything right now.
Wait, I gotta give Liv another shout out for great value, Misty Day. AHS Coven forever. That is so accurate.
I have no idea what that means, but okay.
It's from American Horror Story Coven.
Ew.
So one of the better seasons of American.
It's actually the best.
But it's still Ryan Murphy. People still like Ryan Murphy.
Says the man watching a show starring Grant Gustin.
Oh, Glee. Well, I mean,
yes.
Breeze with the slide and burn there.
Andy B catching strays on his own show.
Glee is not one of my shows.
I'm talking about this podcast, sir.
I'm just saying, who knows? Without Ryan Murphy, we may have never had Grant Gustin and Barry Allen.
Maybe. I just Ryan Murphy is Ryan Murphy. I don't want to talk about it. Him. I don't want to talk about him. Wow. Listener feedback, ladies and gentlemen. What an episode we had. Lacy, will you start with the tweets? Because y'all exploded in the emails and in the.
I know. I don't have that many tweets today. But our first tweet is from Kenny Crayley, who says, a great episode of The Flash with 3 exclamation points. Season 9, episode 9, It's My Party and I'll Die If I Want To. Was so good, and it was so great to see The Flash and Green Arrow, Barry and Oliver team up one last time. Thanks, Ollie, for helping the world one last time. At WQ Charming says, such a beautiful close to Oliver and Barry's friendship. At least one hug, a lot of cute nostalgia, parallels, callbacks, their classic banter, Oliver watching over Barry. Barry is Oliver's favorite Flash. I did love that. That was so sweet. The bar scene, and Oliver canonically has the abilities to see Barry again. Sorry, Felicity, I guess. At Piper GT says, best of the season. And the Gifted Gemini says, I don't like the villain. He's the most trash villain in the entire series. Should have brought back the rival or something. Hell, have the Dark Archer come back and team up with the rival.
The rival is nonsense. Come on. Like...
We just gonna sit here and act like Cicada don't exist. That's right. What we doing, fam.
Yeah, actually, we should.
Yeah, it's correct.
Why do you do this every time, Nate?
I'm just saying. He said, or they said that he was Bloodwork is the most trash villain, and we just not gonna sit here like Cicada ran away with that title years ago.
From John Patrick Van Pelt says, oh my god, what a fun and enjoyable episode of Flash this week. I thought the flashback sequence with Bloodwork / Ramsey Russo was good, especially when we saw the scenes with Wally West's past and one where we saw Joe West and Harrison Wells. It was really fun seeing Wally helping Barry get his revenge on Bloodwork, even though Wally wasn't around in season 6, 7, 8. He was in one episode of season 6, so there you go. I thought Iris telling Wally how she enjoyed his email while she was away. It was cute. Seeing Oliver Queen, Kid Fly, and John defeating Bloodwork was awesome. One question I do have with the Flash podcast: can you explain a little more what Wally meant that he's seen other multiverse or other timeline, and what does that mean? Well, he thought he was seeing other timelines, but Oliver knowing everything, Oliver said that
including what Khione is and not mentioning it. It's fine.
Happy birthday to Barry Allen and the Flash Podcast team. Well, and our birthday. Technically, the Flash Podcast birthday is on December 2nd. So, Oh, good lord, I was so young. I hope in a future season of Super LONSDALE'S, we will see Gringos and his Barry Allen along with other cast members either make a cameo or guest appearance, moving towards a Flash TV show reunion. That is assuming that Super LONSDALE'S is around next season. If only you saw what Breeze, the tweet Breeze sent us from the CW today. That was so funny. I'm like, I wonder what this means. From Era_OT_Olicity says, the Flash writers have a tracker of making characters of other shows say or do dumb stuff, especially Arrow characters. Diggle giving Barry Oliver's bow was dumb. I hope that was sweet, but at least Barry didn't accept that. With that shaking start, enjoy the episode. As a fan who's been critical of Barry, I'm glad they acknowledged some stuff. Hopefully, in the little amount left, Barry grows a little because of it. Glad they didn't mess up with any mythology with Oliver. Nice seeing Wally again. And then at Joseph20 says, this is what we've been needing since the start of the season. Best episode of the season until we see what the series now got. But this is the best episode right now. And then Oscar_Devella05 says, best episode ever. And since Toddy isn't here, you want some help with the emails, Breeze?
Yeah, I can read the first two.
I can read some too.
Yeah,
I only had like 3 tweets.
Split the last two.
Yeah.
So Electra writes in, hey Flash podcast team, how are you? Here are my thoughts on this week's episode. I'm shocked this week's episode actually focused on the Flash, like the actual character, Barry Allen himself. So true. It was nice seeing Wally again. I hope we get more of him in the last few episodes. Why is Diggle giving Oliver's bow to Barry instead of Mia? Wow, great question. I guess Joe couldn't be bothered to show up, even sing main appearance. Was this the first episode where Cecile didn't have to tell us how someone was feeling? It's surprising what can happen when you actually let the actors act and portray their own emotions instead of relying on another character to tell the audience that someone is sad.
Christ.
I'm sure Zombie Allegra destroying something that can hide normal Allegra's identity is not going to come back to bite Allegra in the butt, right? We're going to waste a whole bunch of screen time focusing on Allegra's secret identity drama somewhere in these last 4 episodes, aren't we? The show finally revealed what the audience has known for years, that the multiverse still exists. I was wondering if anyone on Earth Prime would ever find out. Too bad we won't get to see any cool stories surrounding it since the show is almost over. Oliver's speech about Barry being a guardian angel was a nice callback to the pilot episode. So Oliver can only interfere when the multiverse is in trouble. Well, there's a movie coming out where that's about to happen. They really have to use the term brightest days after showing a flashback to Diggle throwing away what all the fans thought was a lantern ring. Seriously, were the writers trolling us with that line?
No, they were just trolling Nate.
This episode was my favorite so far this season. I only wish we got more one-off episodes like this, more team-ups instead of whatever the heck we got, considering this is the last remaining Arrowverse show, since Superman and Lois is not part of the Arrowverse. The episodes wasted on Cecile and Allegra and Chester drama could have been spent with a guest appearance from Supergirl or the Legends, a final goodbye, so to speak. Now it's really starting to hit me that we're never going to see this interconnected universe again. Thanks for reading. Sad. That is sad.
Never say never. Maybe in 10 years from now they will come back. You know, at some point people are going to need money again.
Yes, but will the CW even exist then?
We don't need the CW. It can just be on Max.
I'd say it could be on, whatever Warner Brothers owns all the stuff, so they can just do whatever.
Maybe we will be owning Warner Brothers at that point. Who knows?
I hope so. I could run it so well.
Libby writes, hi Flash podcast, I'm glad we're back, but I have to say I was pretty underwhelmed. It had great Wally moments, and it was nice to see Oliver sing and Diggle again, but the writing and pacing of the episode just didn't work for me. While I loved the Temptation of Barry Allen Part 1, this episode felt like an awkward reboot with some crisis sprinkled in. I liked that it let us explore Wally's trauma with his mother's addiction and death, and growing up without a father. However, I didn't like how Ramsey said Barry was pawing at your sister. I'm glad Barry apologized for his tactless dismissal of Wally's trauma, but I don't think he deserved to be reverse flashed to death. Wally's last scene with Iris was also sweet, but I wish Joe was there too. Also, Iris deserved better than to be in the time vault off screen for most of the episode. I would rather her focus I would rather focus on her than Chester. Sorry, there was a typo of stumbling over. Now Barry's bloodwork, visions, and motivations just didn't make sense. I just can't believe he is so guilty over Frost and Caitlin that he wouldn't wholesale choose to live for his family. Also, Barry didn't get 3 more years to live because youth doesn't prevent death, especially for a superhero that risks his life all the time. Like, he even died this episode. Good point. Also, in the last Bloodwork Vision quest, he admitted to Speed Force Nora that he wanted to live for himself and his family. This reservation was clearly an excuse for Oliver to give him a pep talk about being a hero. That said, Grant and Steven's dynamic is unmatched. The callbacks were very on the nose, but it was a great way to celebrate how the Arrowverse began. Now back to Bloodwork. While Sindel is a wonderful actor, Bloodwork's plan to stop death didn't make sense the first time around. It's not like in Charmed when the Angel of Death came to them.
Every week y'all manage to work in Charmed. What is
It's
it?
not me. It's what
That
the
is
people
the power
want.
of 3.
It's not like in Charmed when the Angel of Death came to them because they accidentally stopped death entirely and the cosmic order was thrown out of balance. He is just turning everyone into zombies, so ostensibly killing everyone, controlling them, and causing mayhem. While Ramsey may be traumatized by his mom's death, he is speaking utter nonsense, so I just can't take him seriously. And because we've done this before in season 6, I just didn't feel any stakes. I also can't take Khione seriously. Her dialogue is bizarre and her powers seem to change every episode. And come on, freezing all the water in someone's body would definitely kill them.
Right.
See, I thought it was more like cryogenesis almost, like she was freezing their bodies that way, but I agree, it's dicey. Lastly, Allegra has never once covered her face, so why does she care now? She also still doesn't have a canon superhero name, and I can't help but be bitter that Chester and Allegra marked their 1-month anniversary on screen, but West Talon hasn't had one mention of their wedding anniversary. But other than this not-so 30th birthday party, they haven't really acknowledged any milestones. Anyway, I have higher hopes for next week. The promo is giving Flashpoint vibes. I have always wanted to see them show Barry going back to save his younger self and more of the original Reverse Flash. I have no doubt Grant and Matt will kill it. Thanks as always for reading this. See you next week. Cheers, Libby.
See you next week, Libby.
And then if someone wants to read... I can read Kenny's, and then if someone wants to read Liv's. Kenny writes in, Dear Flash Podcast, hey Andy and friends. I guess I'm just a friend. Okay.
Guys, y'all just stop sending emails with just hi Andy and friends. Like these names are easy to remember.
I'm just giving them a hard time. I'm really not sad about it. Here are my thoughts on the Flash
You
season
could just
9,
call
episode
us
9.
Caitlin and Jenna like Andy does. So it's fine.
That's fine too. Wow, great episode of The Flash. It was so good, and it was so great to see the Flash and Green Arrow and all team up one last time. Thanks, Ollie, for helping save the world one last time. I'll never forget you, buddy. Lots of emojis. Sorry, this is cracking me up. It's very late here. Thanks, Andy, and the Flash Pockets as always.
Guys, Lazy, Toddy, Breeze,
Andy, and them.
And them, as always, for all you do
okay.
for the fans of the Flash, and keep up the super amazing work. Sincerely, longtime listener and Arrowverse fan, Kenny from Ohio. Thanks, Kenny.
Don't you dare compare my host to Nate. They're not Lacy and Breeze and Todd. They're not Clemaine. They're not and them status. They don't fall out their chairs on a live show.
Shout out to that man Clement Bryant wherever he is.
We love you, buddy. Lacy, I'm gonna force you to read the last email.
Oh, that's fine. It's from Liv. Hi, Liv.
Liv.
Hey, y'all. Long time no see. First thing I'll say is this episode reiterated that Ramsey Bloodwork was Eric's best villain. Half of that is just how charismatic Sendel Ramamurthy is, but his use of visions to pick at his victims' insecurities is entertaining enough that you don't even miss traditional fighting. And somehow it's more entertaining than the visions used from the Fear guy from the Forces storyline. Nora's fetus healing was also a real neat little detail to include. Wally, my son, my sweet boy, my baby Fava. Wait, what? Who said that? Anywho, this was such a fun way to see him one last time. The brother-sister crime-fighting unit flashback, only flashback I accept. The final West sibling scene where Iris said she reads his long-ass emails and reiterated that they deserve some world's best mom and world's best uncle mugs, 10-10. Him finally purging his resentment towards him missing out on a nicer childhood with Joe and Iris and feeling like he was in Barry's shadow in Joe's eyes gave season 2 vibes and was an interesting callback. The Jessie mention gave me hope to see her as a surprise for a good 0.2 seconds. I just wish Joe could have been included. I know why he couldn't be. I get it. Only other thing I would have changed is to let Wally have or at least be included in the final stinger scene. I liked seeing Oliver again for the team up and getting to see Dig finally say a proper goodbye to him, but Oliver already got his epic send-off twice over and already gave Barry his "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine" speech in the middle of the episode to help get him out of purgatory. This was, at least in my opinion, supposed to be just as much Wally's episode as his. It would have been nice to let Wally get the final one or at least be included in it as Barry's first hero mentee and almost transitive from Oliver to Barry to Wally in a way. But can we also talk about the writers trolling us with their meta joke about Barry's plot armor? Boopgate, but mostly they're this is the family show comment. I wanted to fight them. And why they had Frost's body fall out the casket like that, they're so unserious, lol. Correct. Finally, narratively, the guilt angle they were using in this context only worked for Frost, so I was a little side-eyed head tilt at the Caitlyn inclusion, no shade. No matter how they try to spin it, Caitlyn deleted herself due to a self-executed experiment. They made her do that, which, as we have already talked about ad nauseum, was a choice. She didn't sacrifice herself in some hero fight or in Barry's place or because of Barry, like they implied with the other example they used. It just didn't fit. But I digress. Fun episode, great fight sequence. Wally is my man. West sibling supremacy. Nora Fetus, Mama's Girl MVP, Ramsey human but still fine AF, and happy 30, flirty, and thriving to Barry. Looking forward to some time travel next week. See ya. 30, flirty, and thriving. I am dead.
That's what they should have called the episode.
Yeah, next one on his Live Laugh Love tour next week.
Let's go through some live comments. We have Mari who said,
Sorry, the
I
Live
also
Laugh Love tour. I can't.
we have the best list.
You love pray, whatever.
Mari says, I also missed the deadline, so if I can post here, of course you can. I enjoyed the Oliver, Barry, Diggle, Oliver, and Wally Iris scenes, but I really don't get some side story choice and focus with the side characters. Usually Cecile, but this time she has to Allegra again. Also, the forgetting of the pregnant woman halfway through the episode was ridiculous, and the random plot device guilt. Hopefully Gideon kept her company while she was in there. Iris, did you know that you're 2 months pregnant? Oh, am I? Because I could not tell. Let's see. Y'all are freaking hilarious. I think this. Let's see. Mind the Gap. It's actually in the spirit of comics that shows that the show suffers production problem and can only do their best what is available. I've been talking about the whole Wally situation, which I get. Liv says that agreed. Oliver was great, but he got his goodbye, then had a whole show to himself. We have painfully been deprived of Wally too many times. The reason Oliver gets so much is because he's white. They would never do this to any of our characters of color.
It's also the first, so I get them. I give them that.
It's like that elder statesman.
Yeah, he gets the RDJ treatment that MCU was given.
Yeah.
There, so I get it, but it's also exhausting. I'm tired of it.
And it would have been a really nice touch to that email's point if we had that scene, because we've had the Wally or we've had the Barry Ollie bar scene before.
Yeah,
so call back to that.
Else.
So it would have been nice to have Wally sitting there with them.
Agreed.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, let's see.
And Diggle with his Green Lantern ring. Hell, let's make it a foursome.
It's like, let's not be shy.
Matt, she's getting to the natural world, so she's able to do supernatural things. You tell us. Finding out that they should do Arrow's audio plays like Big Finish does for Doctor Who and other British shows. Every freaking time I've seen an announcement like Torvald is coming back as an audio drama. I'm like, why are you all effing with me like this?
They have so many. They really do have so many, though. Christopher Eccleston's doing them now.
I feel like the audio drama thing is a little bit more British culture, though. Like, obviously, like there is Audible and like the originals here, but I feel like that kind of originated with like the BBC and stuff. I don't know if it would catch on in the US.
Electra says, I always love seeing lecture ! Oh no, wait, never mind. I never get the exclamation mark in the middle when they do that with names. So yeah, he is back next week. Soon, Vanessa's favorite bad boy, Tom Cavanaugh is Reverse Flash is coming back. Wow.
All the thongs.
All the fawns. Lee, because I'm glad the charm reference landed. Maybe this is a show we need to talk about when we come back after season 9.
I mean, just a little FYI to the charm folks in the audience, they are doing a podcast where Holly Marie Combs and who is it that played her White Lighter? Brian Krause are like watching Charm together and talking about it.
Oh, wait, wow. I need to listen. I'm obsessed. They were my favorite couple on the show.
Hold on, I'm going to tell you what it's called because I've been stockpiling it.
Okay. Daryl says they kept switching Wally from the Flash.
Called The House of Halliwell.
Ooh, okay. I'll look it up.
Okay.
The Flash podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I'm kidding. Daryl says they kept switching Wally from the Flash to Legends back to the Flash and never found a spot for him. Yeah, I agree. Let's see what else. Levy goes, why did they say Diggle was right not to become Green Lantern? It was a choice. Nate, what do you think about that?
Here's the thing. I feel like, and I talked about this on that last episode I was on here with you and Toddy. When Diggle made that choice, like I felt it was a bad way to write off that story, but at least it made sense for this Diggle character. If I'm going to, in my opinion, stupidly throw away this ring, then I'm going to do it for my family because his family was everything. Him and his 2, now 3 kids. But I just didn't like the way it was handled. And again, like it wasn't the Flash's fault as a show. It was above their pay grade in a sense, with all the WB stuff. But I'm like, damn, like if you're not going to go through with it, then don't keep playing around with it. You know what I mean? Don't tell again. See, you got me worked up again here, Andy B. Don't come to this man, Oliver, and tell him he got brighter days ahead with his family. Because
that was painful. That was
not
so
what we're here for.
But I love the fact that Oliver was the one who sent them that box. That it was a purpose because, if we look at Green Lantern mythology, the ring would someone like Abin Zur would have had to die for the ring to go on. So and the fact that I think they were trying to make this less of a ring and say this was some sort of transmatter cube divide or something. It was something from the comic that people were bringing up from last season. I'm tired. Let's see what else were people saying. Oh, thank you. Because I am old. And the name, exclamation mark, name convention is referring to fan fiction to give distinction to a different actor situation of the character. Thank you. Yeah, I'm old. I don't know things. I'm turning 30 this year. I'm not getting a do-over for my 20s. So, yay. Let's see what else are people saying. Khione is a witch. There you go. Another charm reference. All you need is Caitlin and Frog, and then you have the power of 3.
Ooh.
Not mad about it.
Spinoff.
Oh yeah, because this network is going to exist in a year from now. Breeze, tell them what happened today from the CW account that was so funny.
Oh, so I guess they had some sort of event in New York for investors or advertisers or something, and they're like, we're so excited to bring the cast of All American and some golf program and some Canadian import, and this is our fall programming, and it's like, are you missing anyone? Is this it? So I'm like, yeah, they seem very committed to renewing more shows. They definitely lied about that, but we'll see.
I forgot
what
the
happens.
CW did have that live deal for that live golf
Look at this
tour.
Look at this. Because they're not doing upfronts. This is this new CW.
Wow.
And when it's a Canadian import starring Chad Michael Murray, and I'm like, this has got to be the lowest. No offense to Canadian TV, a lot of it I love, but Chad Michael Murray, come on, y'all.
Hey, that man was hot with One Tree Hill. He had a banger back in the day.
Yeah, but he fumbled the bag with Sophia Bush, so we do not respect.
Wait, Nate, you watch One Tree Hill?
Hey man, One Tree Hill was hot on these streets. I just basketball, and then they had the time jump. Remember, they had that season where they jumped ahead, and everybody's life was all crappy. One Tree Hill was a sneaky good show.
I just know both times I ended up watching it for whatever reason. I guess it was on TV. There was a stalker plot, and it was 2 different episodes. I'm like, how many stalkers are on the show? Anyway, I digress.
They really should have cut out 906 and made this a 2-parter. That would have been great.
Yeah.
We're getting because Eric did finally confirm today on Twitter we're getting a 4-part series finale. From episode, it's called New World Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4.
Wait,
so,
aren't there only like 4 episodes?
There's 4 episodes left, right?
now?
Yeah.
So the last 4 episodes are
So
4
next
parts.
week the finale.
Isn't that just called a story arc if it's 4 parts?
I will be so pissed if the Blu-ray for season 9 doesn't come with an option to watch all 4 episodes like as one edited thing because I'm like,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Now, see, now that you said that, like that makes this even more egregious. Then, like if you're counting the last 4 episodes as one complete episode, we wasted way too much time this season on little sidetrack quest that we didn't really need to go on.
Well, I mean, I know that because this has been said publicly by other people out there, but I know that in the middle of the season they did get their budget affected. So Warner Brothers, you strike again. Meanwhile, Superman Lois gets to do anything they want. Let's see, what else are people saying? Man, I guess in old DC cosmology, I can't say that word. The multiverse was physically different than alternate timelines, but that doesn't seem to matter anymore. I mean, they've had so many reboots and crises at this point that it's like,
yeah, that's kind of it. Currently, that's why they've been calling it the Omniverse more so than the multiverse, because it is different timelines and multiverse and different universes and alternate realities all kind of coexisting in this hyper reality. They kind of talked about it in Generations Forged or Generations Shattered, which no one read. I don't think anyone read it. And they were saying that's why some heroes age slower, which is why some Earths are different timelines, like that are in the 40s, and some Earths are like Batman Beyond in the future. So they're still existing on a same timeline, but they're just, some Earths are accelerating into the future, some are just aging very slowly. So they kind of like talk about that, but it used to be more like when they first introduced the multiverse with the Flash and the Flash of 2 Earths, like it was supposed to be more deviated than that. Then Crisis happened, and then more of that, and then Flashpoint, and So anyway, yes.
Professor Shark, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, Nate, you should have seen her last time she was here. She was dropping some mad signs. I'm just like, sure.
Read comics, that's all.
You just need Vanessa with the whiteboard just explaining this all to us.
Fuck around.
Talk to Multiverse. Bloodwork watching Wally and Barry go at it like it was a sports game and had. Nate, don't start.
Say it, Andy. Say it.
No, don't you dare start. Okay, Nate has been bullying me for the last 2 years because it's bullying because I say sports games, sports match games or whatever. But I'm like, but isn't that what it is? He's like sports ball game. I'm like, it is what it is though. So you know what? I love Friday Night Lights and Ted Lasso. That's the only sports I love. Let's see. I guess the multiverse was the hyper time. Oh, what? That could have been an episode for itself this season. Monica says the multiverse in both this episode and Titan were like goodbye to the current DC media landscape. Yeah, and when I was talking to Ryan Potter, it seemed like kind of like what they were going for, like honoring, because there was a lot of branding shows that were of course included. I love that like we've been talking about this, and like I realized that Lacy doesn't even watch Titans. She's like, Barry was on on Titans. He was. Lacy.
Oh,
I don't watch Titans. I'm sorry. I made it through like the first season, and then that was all. So this is news to me.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Liv goes, time and obsession of Survivor's Guild are Barry's 50-11 lessons. Oh wow. he could write a damn book. So the choice was between dying and going back to the party. The struggle. The struggle.
I can die if I want to. Die if I want to.
Ollie 10305 says Oliver the Spectre can't take the money with me.
I did like that line though.
It would be cool if all billionaires had that mentality. That'd be really cool. Mutual aid and like help the community out.
Matt says Frost's body flopping out of the casket was foul, but I laughed. I mean, I think we all did. Sorry, Lacy.
Just the way it fell.
Let me see what
it like bounce.
Yeah, Stargirl was also on Titans. Matt says Vanessa needs to clear whiteboard they use on the show that magically appears anytime someone needs to draw a diagram.
Yes. Let's
I love that
crowdfund that.
The clear board.
Wait, what is happening now? Wrong, guys. With James Gunn's new DC, along with the idea of the comics being the same as the movies, it is now the multiverse again. If it's confused, don't worry. It is really confused. They're
What's
not
wrong?
going to.
What do you mean wrong?
I don't get it either. But yeah, they're not. The comics are not connecting to the movies.
I don't think he ever said that.
Yeah, no, there's tie-in comics, but the
Yeah.
comics currently in canon do not tie in to James Gunn's DC universe. There's way too much. But they do have tie-in comics.
Yes, Electro Grant Morgan did make a cameo in the multiverse montage.
So cool.
Daryl says, "Can Barry use Oliver's money to fix up the Hall of Justice?" Oh, I pray. It's a miracle if they even fix the damn tower in the Star Labs roof.
Is Barry like the only one in left to go to the Hall of Justice?
I mean,
Barry's like leasing that building out to someone.
Kara's always off-world. We don't know what
Just a sad man alone in this hall.
Kara's always off-world.
Yeah, we don't know what Jefferson is doing anymore. Superman is...
My Justice League is the group that gets together for brunch every month. That's my
Agreed. Matt, we will end with this. Matt, Ty is giving us a flash game that movie won't give us. He ain't wrong. They ain't wrong. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been a very fun episode. And again, always lots of laughs and things to geek out about. But first of all, Vanessa, first of all, thank you so much for coming back this season. Where can you find you on social media and all your other projects?
You can find me at Vanessa Shark on everything. I have a website, vanessashark.com, that I sometimes update. I also write comic reviews for multiverseofcolor.com. I am the host, along with many others, for DC Studios podcast, which covers everything live action and animated DC projects, including Titans, Doom Patrol, and all the other ones. What
were you shading?
No, I couldn't remember anything. I was like, let me just keep moving. And then also I'm on the Lituation Room with brother Nate, my brother from another mother, and also Brittany Clement, who sometimes loves to grace us with his presence. But yeah, we talk a lot of stuff over there, just four Black people talking, shoot the shit, whatever. So follow us at Lituation Room. I think that's I always forget at _Lituation _room.
At lit _room. We're bad at this.
Really bad at this. I'm so sorry. But you can find on the website.
I mean, right now it's better just to go here instead if people want me to follow the podcast. Because the whole DC podcast website soon it will be out. Andy, you know the names of your friend Nate.
Were you about to call me Wally? I'll take that.
At least I remembered you were Black. So like in that sense.
Yes. At least you didn't call me Chillblaine.
But where is he? I mean, not that
Gone
I missed him.
for good, hopefully.
Did he not get an invite to the party?
Nope.
No.
They were like, you got to be clothed to come in.
New shirt, new service.
No shirt, no party. Nate, where can we find you on social media and all your other projects?
Yes. Well, thank you, for having me back, Andy and Lacy and Breeze. It's always good to talk Flash with y'all, and especially when Professor Mama Shark is in the building. And this is kind of sad because the finale is like next week, and so this will probably be the last time I talk about a Flash episode with you, Andy B. Like at least one that airs as it happens.
The podcast is not. The podcast is not, and then there will be other.
I'm just talking about like an episode. Like the chapter is closing on this, Andy.
We can do commentary episodes. That's
yes. I'll pretend to watch the episode with you for an hour.
People are mad that I brought up Chillblaine. I'm sorry, guys.
But yes, if you want to hear more from me, as Vanessa mentioned, I am 1/4 of the Lituation Room, which is Vanessa, myself, Brittany Monet, and America's Sweetheart, Clement Bryant. You can check that out. Hopefully we'll record an episode here soon, like within the next couple of weeks. We've got busy schedules and busy lives, so hopefully we can get on the same page here in the next few weeks and bring another episode to you guys, because there's a lot happening in this world, this media landscape that we're currently in, including like the WB possibly being interested in the WWE, getting in the wrestling business, which leads me to another one of my shows, which is the NWA podcast, the Nubian Wrestling Advocates on Post Wrestling. It's a show about wrestling from the perspective of Black journalists, media members, fans, and content creators. We talk about pro wrestling. We do one episode a month. Our newest episode just happened a week ago, I think. The time I'm on many alternate timelines, so I can't even keep this straight. But I think last week we dropped the latest episode of the NWA podcast. Post Wrestling is also where you can get the Rocky Maivia Picture Show, which is my rock movie review podcast. And finally, the Kings of Sport, which eventually will be making its way to the Multiverse of Color. Right now, it's stuck on Earth 1645. But eventually it will be making its way to the Multiverse of Color. And this is our 10-year anniversary for the Kings of Sport. So you can check us out. We got a Patreon, patreon.com/the Kings of Sport. If you want to support us, we would appreciate it, because, you can't take it with you, as Oliver Queen told you tonight. So check that out. For everything else, I'm on Twitter at @8 MOZAIK. And that's it, Andy B.
You're also on ironically enough, you're also on the Green Lantern podcast, where they actually will be a John Stewart.
I did forget about the Green Lantern podcast, because yes, shout out to my Green Lantern crew.
Lacy Bauer, where can people find you on social media and your other projects?
I am Lacy MB on Twitter and virtually every other social media thing that we have all come up with in the past 6 months. It is LACYMB. I have lots of thoughts and I share them often. Of particular interest to this group, I am on the Flash beat at Den of Geek. I also talked to Daniel Panbaker this week, so go throw a girl some clicks. And I'm on the Star Trek beat there too, although we're in a little bit of a break right now until my other husband Anson Mouth show returns in June. We love that. If for whatever reason you are also a fan of British TV, I host another podcast called Televisions that everyone should check out.
And
Lacy, did you finish season 3 of Picard?
Oh my God.
Don't get her started. Don't get her started.
We did a call-in show last week, and I'm pretty sure I spent like 20% of it talking about Picard. I was like I am like still so in my emotions about it. It's so good.
Miss Breeze Riley, where can we find you on social media and your other projects?
You can follow me on Twitter at Breeze Riley, and my Barbie movie fan account on Twitter at the Barbie movie, and DC Studios podcast with Andy and Vanessa and some other lovely folks. And when I have the time, writing on TelltaleTV.com and Multiverse of Color.
Fuck, I'm everywhere. I'm at Andy Rebecca. Wow, sorry.
Wow.
Marky, Andy.
All of us. You yelled at
Wow.
all of us for our language, and now you are out here doing that.
You know what? I've done this podcast for 10 years. I think I'm entitled to.
It's enough of that malarkey, Andy.
Anyway, you can find me at Rebecca on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Vero, Twitch, TikTok, whatever social media accounts exist. I'm on most of them. I don't post on most of them, but I exist. I the editor-in-chief of Multiverse of Color. I'm also senior writer for Screener. I have a lot of Titans interviews coming up, so check that out. And what else do I do? I don't sleep, so that's something to know. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, we're gonna do the podcast plugs really quickly, and then we're gonna get the hell out of here. Vanessa also had to go, but she says thanks for being on the show, and she says hi to everyone in the chat. So yeah, but here's where you can find the Flash Podcast at.
To find exclusive content and new episodes from the Flash Podcast, visit theflashpodcast.com. There you'll also find the latest info about the Flash TV show, movie, and comics.
TFP never strays far, so please find the Flash Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram if you should ever need us. And we need you to send us listener feedback on any of those platforms after each episode of The Flash. You can send your feels sporadically or wait for the graphic that appears every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, begging you to leave us your comments so we know you love us. XOXO, Gossip Flash.
Make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to the Flash Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and anywhere else you listen to your podcasts. Want to support the Flash Podcast? Leave a review and 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, which helps more Apple Podcast users find the show.
Enjoy what we're doing? Then you should check out the entire DCTV Podcast Network at dctvpodcast.com, where we have amazing shows for The Flash, Superman Lois, all the ongoing and upcoming DC shows on HBO Max, the upcoming DC Studios movies, The Sandman, as well as DCTV After Dark and lots of other fantastic podcasts, all available at dctvpodcast.com. You can follow the network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram simply at DCTV Podcast. Last but not least, be sure to subscribe to the network's mega feed on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and everywhere else you listen to podcasts.
DCTV Podcast has its own TeePublic store, where you can get all sorts of fabulous Arrowverse and DCTV merchandise to broadcast your fandom in the real world. Click on the link in the show notes to start shopping and help support the network so we can keep making all these great shows. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/DCTV Podcasts and ring the notification bell for up-to-the-minute news about live broadcasts, exclusive interviews, special clips, and lots more.
And because we can never get enough of your beautiful words, you can also email The Flash Podcast at theflashpodcast@gmail.com anytime you want. Use it for longer listener feedback, questions about The Flash and DCTV, miscellaneous thoughts, or fanfic recommendations. We read every email, so don't worry, no Flash fan left behind.
I feel like I feel so called out. This is a family show, Andy. I mean, the thing is that I think we can at least cuss like once or something. It's just, I think on YouTube is that we just can't do like in like the first like 30 or 60 seconds, I think. Now, Lacy and Bree, that is not an invitation for you all to go off the rails with this. So I'm just saying that like it's not a big deal.
That's what I heard, ladies. That's what
that's what
we have a DC Studios podcast for.
Exactly. No, but somebody, I think, because I have been updating most of the podcasts so that they are R-rated on iTunes and so on, so that way we can be a little more looser with the words, because like fuck, no kids are listening to these podcasts anymore. I think. I don't think. I mean, I remember there were a few families that listened to. No, Matt, please don't encourage. Don't encourage. No. I will let Lacy talk about as much Star Trek as she wants, because like y'all curse so much when you all get started. So it's like
Tame the Beast.
I've never tried to, but guys, we do
Jonathan Frakes has aged really well. Just saying.
Well, all I'm saying is that for next week, if you guys want to be a reminder of next week's live show, there are links in the show notes. You can click on the notify thing so you don't miss us go live. Because now, guys, we're down to our final 4 episodes of The Flash Season 9.
Which are apparently all the finale. Who knew?
1 episode.
I'm not against it, but I'm like, it is a funny way for them to do it. But on behalf of Toddy, who will hopefully be with us next week, until next time, I'm Andy B.
I'm Breeze.
And I'm Lacy.
You want to join us, Nate?
And I'm Brother Nate.
And he has no Green Lantern ring coming for him. We will see you next week on the Flash.
Brighter days ahead.
Wow. Good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.